All right, good morning and welcome back to Teal House Farm. Today we're going to make some pickled eggs because it's a great way to preserve eggs somewhat long term. So pickled eggs are good in your refrigerator for 3 to 4 months. Yeah, come here. They are not going to be shelf stable. I do know that some people do can pickled eggs and put them on the shelf, but it is not officially recommended and I like to follow recommendations. So I like pickled eggs, so I just like pickled things in general. So having a jar or two in the refrigerator is nice because you can just grab one and snack on it, or I like chopping them up too and putting them on top of a green salad. Yeah? But anyway, it's spring, so we have lots of eggs from our hens, so I'm going to do probably make about a dozen here. I never remember how many fit in a jar. I don't think it's a whole dozen. I think maybe 8 to 10 do, but the extras, the kids just like hard-boiled eggs in general, so we'll just let them snack on the extras. But we're going to make one jar today, just for me, because I'm the only one who likes these. And we're going to make a dilled pickle egg. So these are not going to be a spicy pickle. There's lots of different pickling recipes. We're going to do one with some dill. The first thing you obviously have to do, though, is make the hard-boiled eggs. You want to make them so they peel nicely. And I find that the easiest way to do this is in my Instapot. And this works even for fresh eggs. Like if you got them from the hens that morning, this works great every time. This is not an Instapot brand Instapot. This is a commercial chef pressure cooker, but it works exactly like an Instapot. It's just an off-brand, and I'll link this below if you're looking for one, but don't necessarily want to pay the Instapot price. It does have some other cool features. You can make yogurt in it. Obviously, it has settings to use as a pressure cooker for like soups and stews or beef roast, things like that. You can also put it on manual, which is going to work really well for the hard-boiled eggs. What we do need to do is we need to add some water. You do not need any sort of insert in your Instapot pot. You're just going to put the water and the eggs directly in, so no rack or anything. We are just going to add 1 cup of water, and we're going to put the eggs along the bottom. These eggs were in my refrigerator, but you could use fresh eggs. It works the same, and it does not change anything whether or not they're fresh or warm, room temperature off the counter, or if they're cold from the fridge. The recipe's the same. And I just have 2 that are a little bit dirty, so we're going to wash those. I always ask why I keep my farm fresh eggs in the refrigerator, and the answer is pretty simple. 1, because sometimes they're really dirty and I wash them because not all my chickens like to lay in their nesting box, but the other reason is just space. It's not a big kitchen. I don't have a lot of counter space. Are you back? And if I have a heap of eggs on the counter too, it just looks really messy. It's easier for me to just put them in cartons and store them in the fridge. But if you have plenty of space in your kitchen, or it doesn't bother you having a heap on the counter, then go for it. We're going to put our lid on, and we're going to put it to sealing, which it's on, and then we're going to hit the manual button. And we're going to set it for just 5 minutes. And we'll come back when it's all done. Once it's done, we'll go ahead and hit that stop button and we'll let it sit for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes is up, we will manually release the remaining steam, and once that weight in the back has dropped, we know that it's safe to open and remove our eggs. Into an ice water bath those eggs go so they can cool off, and while we're waiting, we're going to sterilize our jar. We have 1 quart jar. Now, sterilization is very important because we're going to be storing these long term. Even though it's in the refrigerator, it's still a long storage time. We have to start with very clean and safe equipment. So to sterilize, you're going to put them in a pot of water. Typically, you'll use your water bath canner, but since this is just 1 jar, I'm using a stock pot with a rack on the bottom. And you're going to make sure that the jar is completely covered and has water inside of it, and boil for 10 minutes. Then turn the pot off and just let the jar sit in the hot water until you're ready to fill it. Then we're going to start our brine. While that's all going on, we need 1 cup of water, 1.5 cups of vinegar, and you want to make sure you get that 5% acidity vinegar since we're pickling. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of mustard seed, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. Now you can use black pepper, but I like the flavor profile better of the white pepper. It's very light. I have just a little bit of minced onion, and somewhere around a teaspoon of dill weed, though we weren't very good at getting those measurers inside that tiny little container. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic, or you could just use 1 whole garlic clove that's peeled. and then 3 teaspoons of salt. Pickling salt is your best choice, but if you don't have any, you can use just regular table salt. Just know it'll make your brine look kind of cloudy and not as nice in the jar. Give that a nice mix, bring it to a boil, then cover and simmer for 5 minutes. While that's all cooking down, we're going to go ahead and peel our eggs. I love cooking eggs in the Instapot because they come out perfectly every time. We got all 12 eggs peeled and each one looked pretty darn good. No splits, no crushes, none of them getting stuck inside the shell. The shells really just come right off. I'm going to go ahead and put the shells in a separate container because I'm going to crush them up and feed them back to our chickens. It's a nice source of calcium for them, so keep our chickens healthy. And then there are our lovely eggs. Our jar is ready and we're ready to fill it. So we get our hot jar out. I'm just sticking it in a bowl in case I make a mess, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the eggs in. You don't wanna press down to pack in the eggs because you'll make the eggs crack and can kind of get smushy in there. We fit 11 eggs in the jar. You have to make sure that they're in there so that they can be well covered with the brine, so we're not gonna try to jam that 12th egg in there. We'll get our wide mouth funnel out and we're ready for our hot brine. Just pour that right over your eggs. This recipe makes enough brine for 1 quart plus just a little bit left over. There's no headspace requirement because we're not canning, so I'm filling this jar as much as I can fill it. Make sure that those eggs are well covered and can soak in some yummy brine. I give it a little jiggle just to make sure there's no air bubbles stuck between the eggs. And then we're gonna go ahead and put our clean lid and ring on. And as always, we want to label this. We want to keep track of time. I know, you think, I'll remember. I think that too. You will not remember. And then, unless you're like me and have a YouTube channel and can go back and check the date that you posted things, you're going to have absolutely no idea when you made these eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and label them. And then they can go directly into the refrigerator. Do not keep them at room temperature. They're going to cool off and sit and do their little stewing. Okay, we're going to put this jar right into the refrigerator to cool off. All right, go for it, buddy. Sorry, it's like 700 degrees outside today. Not really. It is like 95 or 100 or something like that. It's really hot, and so they're going to play in the sprinkler, which is fine. But to get everybody ready. Anyway, we're going to put that immediately in the fridge, and then it's good for several months. I believe it's 3 months. If that's not correct, I'll write it down below. I'm trying to remember without having to look it up. But I believe it is 3 months. Always make sure you use a clean utensil when taking out an egg, and put the cover right back on, and then put it back in the refrigerator for storage. It will pop down. The lid will probably pop because I got a hot liquid in a mason jar. It's going to feel like it seals the jar, but it is not safe for shelf storage. There have been multiple reports that the CDC tracks of people pickling eggs, keeping them on the shelf, and then ending up with very, very ill in the hospital with food poisoning. So please do not store your pickled eggs, even if you process them in a canner, on your shelf. These need to be kept in the refrigerator, but like I said, they're good for several months and they're yummy. I'm gonna link a recipe document below that is actually by the National Center for Home Food Preservation that has 6 or 7 different varieties of pickled eggs. So if you're like, meh, I don't really like dill, or I like something spicy or something like that, you can look through their options and try all of those tested recipes and pick one that fits your taste buds the best. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all again really soon.